Thank you for joining us for this week's edition of Southwest Connections, your campus-based show that shares with you some of the stories behind the great people that make Southwest the wonderful place that it is. I'm your host, Bill Malso, and I'm happy to welcome this week Brett Gaul, Director of the Honors Program and Professor of Philosophy here at SMSU. So welcome, Brett.
That's right. Thank you, Bill.
So Brett, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got to SMSU, probably both times.
Yes. So this is my second stint at SMSU. So I started here as a student in 1995, and my dad was actually a member of the charter class of 1971. So I knew of SMSU because it's in the region, and also because he had come here. And when I came here, I didn't know what I wanted to do, didn't know what I wanted to major in, but came here because I had been contacted by Hugh Kurtler, who was the director of the honors program at the time, and discovered I liked philosophy and liked political science. So I added a minor in literature and graduated with those degrees in 1999, and then went to graduate school in philosophy and earned a master's degree in philosophy from Western Michigan, a PhD from the University of Iowa. And then about the time I was finishing up, there was a job opening here, and I applied to that and got it, and I've been here since 2007 now.
So philosophy, pretty unique program for people that are wondering, well, what can I do with a career in philosophy? Tell us a little bit about the type of person who takes it, other than yourself, who gone into philosophy, and where it might lead them from a career standpoint.
Yeah, it's a good question. So philosophy majors tend to be curious students who are thoughtful, interested in the big questions of life. Who are we? Why are we here? How should I act? What's the good life? And you're right, Bill, there's usually when you apply for a job, it doesn't say philosophy major wanted. And so there is sort of a misconception about philosophy. I think that philosophy maybe is sort of impractical or sort of a worthless thing to study, but that really isn't the case, where the skills that you learn in philosophy, the critical thinking skills, the communication skills, learning how to act wisely, those are good skills for just about any job you would want to go into or any career you'd want to pursue. And so in recent years, there's been a number of articles written by people like billionaire Mark Cuban, even the president of Ireland, sort of pushing back against this misconception about philosophy. So from my perspective, that's good to see, because I try to convince all my students that they're interested in philosophy, even if they think they're not interested in philosophy, and that it is all around us.
It's one of those things that you hear it, but you're not really sure what does it mean and what does it all entail. So what are some of the courses that are part of the philosophy program?
Sure. So yeah, literally the word means the love of wisdom, but one of the definitions of philosophy that I like is that it's thinking in slow motion. And so here at SMSU, the philosophy major is structured where there's a core, and the core consists of ethics, logic, and then 3 classes about the history of philosophy. And those classes are the history of ethics, the history of political philosophy, and a course about the history of metaphysics and epistemology. And then beyond that, students are free to take electives in philosophy. And so they could take Introduction to Philosophy, they could take philosophy through film, aesthetics, critical thinking. And then one of our strengths is courses in ethics. So in addition to that ethics course and the history of ethics course, we have a course in environmental ethics, ethical issues in business, and ethical issues in professional life.
So you've got a philosophy major, you've also got a minor, and I know that many of the philosophy courses are part of our liberal education curriculum, or some of the old general studies as they used to be called.
Yes.
What types of those classes really are beneficial to students who maybe are majoring in something else or want to consider maybe a minor in philosophy?
Sure. So students and sometimes even faculty are surprised at just how embedded philosophy is in the liberal education program. And part of that's just the nature of philosophy. It's broad, concerned with fundamental questions, and these are questions that underlie every discipline here at the university. And so students can take, some of those courses I mentioned earlier, like Introduction to Philosophy or Ethics or Critical Thinking, to sort of help round out their education. And other programs, I think 11 now in total, either require or count as an elective course in philosophy. And those, of course, are non-philosophy programs. And so many of those courses are requiring or recommending one of our ethics courses.
Big part of our liberal education, curriculum is developing those critical thinking skills. And it sounds like, that's really kind of the foundation of a philosophy program, is being able to think critically, and it'll serve you well in no matter what area you decide to pursue.
Yes. Yeah, and students have gone into all kinds of lines of work. Obviously, one of the things that students have gone on to do is going on to graduate school, be it in philosophy or psychology or law. But a number of our students are also employed in business or in state government or education, or have started their own business or just employed in business in general. And so it has been, it is good for pretty much whatever you want to do. One of those articles that I've mentioned recently was titled "Be Employable, Study Philosophy," right? And sort of pushing back against this idea that, the only thing you'll be able to do is get a job at a coffee shop or, ask somebody, do you want fries with that? And just that these are really valuable skills, but people don't often think of it that way. But philosophy majors tend to be the kind of people who get a job and then rise up in a company because they do have the ability to think critically and act wisely.
Set you up well for a lot of different opportunities.
Yes.
So one of the other roles that you play is the director of our honors program here at SMSU. Tell us a little bit about what the honors program is.
Sure. So I describe the honors program as essentially an enhanced academic experience that is designed to help students get the most out of the academic side of their time here at SMSU. And what that looks like at SMSU is sort of looks like a minor. So doing the honors program here is 15 credits, and you take this course called Introduction to Honors when you're a first-year student. When you're a senior or a junior, you take this course called Honors Seminar. And then in between there, we have the Honors Core, and there you take 3 classes from the Honors Core. And the program mission is to help develop critical thinking skills, global consciousness, being aware of the globe, and leadership skills. And so with that focus, that helps inform all of the classes and experiences inside the honors program.
So some of your students in that program obviously are very well-rounded, good academically. Obviously, they've got leadership skills. They have a desire to develop their leadership skills. You talked about some of those attributes and advantages that they have. What are some of the outcomes that many students are expecting when they go into that honors program and graduate from it?
Sure. Sometimes students really don't know what to expect because they're coming here for a major and then they see honors and think, well, what's that about? I'm in my National Honor Society in high school, and so what sort of advantages can that lead to here? And in general, there's some really tangible benefits or advantages to students. One thing is they get priority registration, so they get to register first each semester, which students really like. So it's nice to be at the front of the line when you register for classes. And then commencement day and graduation day, they get a special medallion that signifies they're an honors program graduate, and completion of the program is noted on their transcript. But for me, the biggest benefit or outcome of being in the honors program is just the personal growth that I see in the students. So they become more confident. And as one student put it to me when he was nearing his end of his time here, he said, "I was smart, but the honors program made me a deeper thinker." And so that's something that you can take with you, from this place where it's transformed you, right? You're a different kind of person than you were when you came in. And so, he's one of these students who really did get the most out of his experience here at SMSU by doing the honors program.
So one of the advantages there, or opportunities I would say, that students have in the honors program is they get to tailor their liberal education core, how they want to see it. What are some of the changes that students make, or what are some of the paths that they pursue when they do create their own liberal education program?
Sure. So we've got 2 ways to do the honors program now. The new way is where students can do the Minnesota Transfer Curriculum, which is the standard liberal education program here at SMSU, and do honors on top of that. And the reason that we added that in recent years was because there were students coming in with so many credits, right? And so this is a way for them still to do honors in a timely way. But we also have the other way of doing honors, which is the way we've had for years since the honors program was founded back in around 1980, I think, which is it allows students to create their own course of study in their liberal arts. And we call that the traditional pathway. And so that allows students to create their own course of study in liberal arts. It gets approved by the Honors Review Board, and they can really tailor their experience to what they want to get out of college. And so that allows them a little bit more flexibility and a little bit more freedom in the courses that count for their liberal ed. And so some students will add maybe art classes or music classes that weren't necessarily in the liberal education program, or classes in business or management that would fit in with what they want to do in the future, or even design projects or experiences that would encompass research opportunities or internships.
Great segue. Here at SMSU, we pride ourselves in having a lot of our students participate in undergraduate research. What are some of the projects and opportunities that your students have had through honors to do undergraduate research, and where has that allowed them not only to present here on campus, but have there been other opportunities for them to present
There have.
other venues?
Just at the last undergraduate research conference day in December, there were some really interesting projects by honors program students. So one had to do with political philosophy. It involved a class in the honors core and how that applied to online gaming platforms. And so there are these games where people, maybe live like a certain kind of political philosophy. And so that was interesting to see that kind of research. Another project was about Madagascar hissing cockroaches. And somebody else did a research project about the dangerous makeup that was used in the filming of The Wizard of Oz. And so like the green paint on the witch and the Tin Man, and things like that. These were pretty dangerous products at the time. But beyond that, too, I've had students where one of the students who presented at the undergraduate research conference did a project on the ethics of space exploration. And then he was able to present his research at an undergraduate philosophy conference at Truman State in Missouri. And earlier in the year, there was a student who did a research project in Washington, D.C. at the Children's National Hospital that involved designing a communication product and then pitching that to the hospital.
So lots of opportunities that kind of can take you beyond the walls of SMSU, and that's kind of fun to see for our students and our graduates.
It is. Yeah, it's fun to not only share research here, but also, with the broader community as well.
So you talked a little bit about the two different pathways, the traditional and then the Minnesota transfer curriculum pathway. If a student comes to SMSU, is it possible for an upper class student or a transfer student to become a part of the honors program? Or is it something you have to be a traditional freshman coming in to be a part of?
Great question. It's preferable and easier to start with honors sooner, but just because you transfer in or you decide to join honors later, that doesn't mean that it's not doable. It is still very doable, and we've have had students join later or who've transferred in from another institution. So certainly very possible. It just, the earlier you do it, just sort of allows you more time to take those classes that you need to take, but it's still very possible to do it.
So you mentioned a little bit about the honors seminar. So when our students are completing their courses of study here at SMSU, no matter what program in, many of them have to complete a capstone course or seminar course. Tell us a little bit about the honors seminar and that capstone project that students are a part of.
Yes, so Honors Seminar is the capstone for the students in the honors program. And this is a course that really pulls everything together. I sort of look at it's the bookend to their honors experience. So you've got the first book, which is Introduction to Honors, and then you have this last book, which is Honors Seminar. And I've taught that course for a number of years under the general theme of the art of living. And so one of the things that we do, one of the projects that they have in that class, is an assignment where they have to tell their story, where they have to reflect on the things that they've learned, the things that they've done in their time here at SMSU, and then construct a coherent narrative about themselves. And so this is good practice for writing a personal statement for graduate school, or just an interview when somebody says, okay, tell me about yourself, right? And so that's a good experience. And then also just in that class, there are various ties to the art of living. One of the books that I've used for years is Albert Camus' The Plague. And so obviously we're still living under COVID-19 as we record this, and that's a book that has really resonated with students, where the book is about this Algerian town where there is a plague and they get isolated from the outside world. And so lines in that book really hit differently. I taught it before COVID-19, but afterwards, like the lines about alienation and things like this. So it really gave the students something they could see themselves in the characters in the book and relate that experience to what we've lived with in recent years.
Sure. Brett, if somebody wants to learn more about the honors program at SMSU, how do they go about getting a hold of you?
Sure, the easiest way to contact me would just be to email me, and my name is Brett, Brett. The email would be .gaul, Gaul, at SMSU, brett.gaul at smsu.edu. That'd be the easiest way, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can.
Great. So one last question for you. If you could tell a prospective student and their family why SMSU is the best place for them, what would it be?
I would say that SMSU might be the best place for you because the faculty here really care about you, staff really care about you, and I think a lot of faculty, and myself included, look at SMSU as the kind of place where you're getting the value of a private school education at the cost of a public. And the people here really do care about you. One of the students who was in the honors program and is now in medical school was told that what really helped her get into medical school, and she got into every medical school to which she applied, was that her letters of recommendation were just outstanding. Now, not only was she an outstanding student, but we knew her well enough to write really good letters of recommendation. And so you'll be a person, you're a person at SMSU, you're not just a number. We know who you are, and we can write those really strong letters of recommendation that can help you get into graduate school or get a job or achieve whatever the dream or goal it is that you have. And so for me, as a student here and now as a professor, I really have come full circle. So I mentioned Hugh Kurtler earlier, where he was my advisor, and I wouldn't be sitting here today without his help, because there was a point in my career as a student where I didn't know what I wanted to do. I thought about going to law school. I decided not to do that. For a while, I even switched to secondary English ed, and I decided not to do that. And I was panicking, because again, I've got this degree in philosophy, and at the time, I didn't know all of the things you could do with a degree in philosophy, right? I even had a friend whose dad asked me, how does that put meat and potatoes on the table, right? Didn't have an answer at the time. Now I do. But Hugh Kurtler said to me, if you could do anything you wanted, what would you do? And I immediately said, I'd study more philosophy. And he said, maybe that's what you should do. And it never occurred to me, a person who grew up in Iona, Minnesota, a small town of a couple hundred people, 50 miles south of here, that I could go to a graduate school for philosophy, right? My family tree wasn't full of people who went to college, certainly not full of people who went to graduate school. So it's professors like that were here, that are still here, that can see things in you that you don't even see in yourself and help you realize those dreams.
That's awesome. Thank you, Brett. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thanks, Bill.
Well, just a reminder that we have lots of activities going on campus. I would encourage you to go online and check things out at smsu.edu. And we have lots of visit opportunities coming up here this spring for both prospective students as well as families that are just starting that college process. So be sure to go online and check out some of the visit opportunities. We've got some virtual opportunities now online, as well as, of course, we are welcoming people here on campus. So come and take a tour and see what we've got to offer. Once again, thank you to my guest, Dr. Brett Gaul. Tune in a couple of weeks when I welcome Jeet Sawson from the Deanne Griebel Student Success Center. Thanks for watching.